Good morning. Today is July 29th, 2020. This is our constitutional mandated monthly meeting for July. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 10:03 a.m. We do have a quorum of 5. Missing is Ms. Donna Gill, Doya Sovo, and CBC 1 June Sovo. So if I could call upon our Secretary Treasurer for a roll call, I would appreciate it.
William Nelson.
Here.
Ms. Parker, Vice Chair.
Here.
Mr. Tipicani, Secretary Treasurer, here. Committeeman number 1, Mr. Sobo. Committeeman number 2, Ms. Doyabai. Committeeman number 3, Mr. Redell.
Here.
Committeeman number 4, Mr. Narkami. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Our minutes are still being prepared. It's been kind of hard with the social distancing to have minutes ready to go. Business committee, our tribe is really beset by many people that have lost loved ones. I would hope that when we call upon someone to pray this morning, to keep the McClung family in your prayers, to keep the Red Oak family in your prayers, and to keep the Masetki family in your prayers. And if I could at this time, we go to God when we start, and since this pandemic, we've been going to God when we end. So I'd like to call upon Mr. Tipicani, if you could render up a prayer and mention these families that have lost loved ones, if you could, sir.
Our wonderful Father, we thank you for all your blessings. We thank you for your Son. We thank you for the Holy Spirit. We glorify and praise your name, Father, above all things. May we walk your road and be committed to you, Father. Be with us this day as we go about business for the Comanche Nation. Open our minds and let us be objective and smart and be guided by the wisdom you can give us. Let's always remember we're here to serve. And we're to serve in respectful manners, in good ways, thinking only the best of our nation. And Father, we also pray for our president, our country. And Father, there are times when we have losses in our nation. The Masetkis, the McClungs, the Red Elks. Be with all these families, Father. Show them your love. Comfort them. And be with them, and then may they see that the real answer is Christ. Open our hearts to that, Father, and bless these families. And there's others that have recently lost persons in their families. Be with them. And be with those who are not feeling good. And be with us as we combat this crazy virus that's going across the world. Mm-hmm. Keep us safe from it, Father. Keep all our Numina safe. Guide us to be smart about preventive actions. Let us follow them, Father. Let us be what you want us to be in the performance of just being safe. And our Father, we pray for those who are veterans, and they are wherever they are. Bless them. And we also pray for the warriors that we have doing different things here and there, from preparing for school, or thinking about a job, thinking about caring for the family. So many things at this moment, Father. So we pray that you be with us, guide us, take care of us, and may we continue to praise and honor you. Again, be with us this day. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And thank you. In attendance, we do have our legal team here, the Rosette LLP. Before we get started within the passage of resolutions, I'd like to call upon a young lady that I've seen grow up, and I've seen her get a skill set and a trade of healthcare. And as you all know, we've had to be shut down And we're back, we're reopening, and that's why the meeting is happening today rather than the 1st of July. But this young lady is our Comanche health representative, and her name is Sonia B.B. Lyles. And Sonia has been instrumental with Comanche Nation law enforcement, Chandel, Weesaw, and Terrence, to reopen our complex in our outlying areas. So this morning, I don't know if I asked Sonia if she had a PowerPoint, but I know one thing that Dustin and I, we talked this morning about infomercials that we're going to start doing. And that's going to be a real go. You know that, Dustin, if I can get a thumbs up. You know, a lot of tribes have their own television spots. Well, rather than wait for your PIO paper, we're going to go to real infomercials of what really is going on with the nation, especially with the pandemic. Without further ado, I'm going to call upon Sonia B.B. Lyles. And what does the Comanche Nation tribal members that come here for services, what can they expect coming up to the complex or outlying areas? So the floor is yours, Miss Lyles.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, to everybody who's watching this, I want to extend my apologies to everybody. I know as a Comanche woman, to speak above your elders is not often accepted, so my apologies to everybody. But I come to you today with the task at hand in trying to be proactive in this pandemic that we're all in right now. We know that school is right around the corner, and we just reopened on the 27th. So when doing these guidelines, when we put everything into place, you know, it was the safety of not just the employees here, but your families, your children, your grandchildren, you know, your friends, family, the employees, everybody here. This is what was taken into place. So what you can expect right now when you come into our tribal complex. When you come in, you're going to notice that the south entrance is currently closed. You're going to come on up to the north entrance and you'll come into where you have the staging area. At that staging area, we are going to ask you, what are you here for? Or if you need to see somebody. If you have an appointment with a particular department, we will notify that department by phone and make sure that they are cleared to come on up and that their appointment is verified should they have that appointment. Otherwise, we will notify that department and still ask permission for this person to come on through. For the example of the CARES Act, they're currently not doing any applications by paper. Reason being is we're trying to prevent any type of cross-contamination. So they can pull into the staging area where we have iPads available, and we will do the applications online for them, along with social services, student cares, anybody who has an application online, we can pull that up for them. We will also have the ability that if they need to attach any type of documents to that, then we will also take the photo and upload it right there. So what we have done now is once the application has been submitted, we do show them the iPad that right here everything has been submitted for them to also see as well. You will also get a temperature check if you are a visitor to the complex, and your time will be noted that you arrived. Whenever you leave, the time will be also noted. A sign will be placed under your wiper blade on the outside of your vehicle stating where you are going. This also notifies our tribal police as to which department you're going to as well. So once they leave, we note the time, take the sign, they're free to go. We also do practice social distancing, wearing of masks even outside, and also sanitizing of all the signs that we do use. And any equipment, pens, tablets, everything is still sanitized. Even the porta potty is sanitized. So now we have guidelines that were put into place. Would you like for me to go over those as well?
Yeah, if you could, briefly.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, Dustin, hopefully you and BB can really get this going maybe within the next 2 days and get it out as a video so they'll know what's happening here. I believe there's other things happening with Mr. Walkini at the health center. Am I right, Chandel? What do they do when they go to ICW downtown? What do they do with Realty? So Sonia, I tell you what, I just love what you guys put together. We were safe, but we weren't that safe. And in turn, that's why we had a closure. So yes, if you could go over that, that'd be
Okay.
great.
No problem. I also want to make a note before we do go into these, because you brought up a good point about some of the other programs. We have asked for the different programs that are here and working, what their contactless plan is. You know, how can they avoid any type of public coming in to keep everybody safe, not just employees, but the public as well. So a lot of them have submitted their plans already, and I must just give my congratulations to these directors because they have stepped up and have made it happen. So the reason being is with it, everything being contactless, we do know that school is fixing to go back and start here soon. You know, some schools have options, some don't. On that note, if, you know, worst case scenario that we ever have to shut down again, a lot of these programs are already working pretty well remote from their offices or from their homes, even their cell phones. So this way they can still continue to do that should we ever have to shut down again. But the plans, we do have the plans in place for them. I have reviewed them, and if there was any changes that needed to be made, changes were made. We do have some that are still working on them right now, just trying to figure out what would work best for them and for their employees as well, and the public. So on our plans that were put into place, we do have that face mask must be worn by employees and visitors at all times. Gloves must be worn if in contact with the public and be changed often, which we know right now we don't have a lot of people that are in contact with the public. So that kind of works out well, but also have the hand sanitizer available. Maintain a social distance of at least 6 feet apart at all times. A daily log at the beginning and end of each shift with the employee's name, temperature, and time will be documented and sent to myself by email every day. Employee temperatures will be taken by their director, manager, or their supervisors. If an employee presents a temperature of 100.0 degrees higher, then that employee will be sent home but may return to work when they have a doctor's note specifying their return date. COVID-19 testing of all employees will be done every 2 weeks to ensure not only their safety, but the safety of their families and the public as well. If exposed to a positive COVID patient, then a mandatory 14-day quarantine will take place, and then they must be checked 8 days after exposure. Sanitizing of all offices should be performed on a daily basis. A department log will be kept on a daily basis for every individual, and this is employees and visitors, that steps foot into that department with the time, name, temperature, phone number, in case communication needs to be made with that individual about possible exposure to ensure their safety and their well-being. Failure to comply with these guidelines will result in a disciplinary action. Knowingly concealing that you are COVID positive and expose yourself to public may result in criminal charges filed by the proper authorities. Daily checks, whether they be in person or by phone, will be done to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone. And please note that these guidelines may be subject to change.
Very good. One thing for sure, Shandell, our TA, you know, she's been under some therapy, I believe, physical therapy, and she's been aware of everything that we projected. Am I correct? Very good. And one thing about this BB, I want everybody to understand that today we are going to pass. We are a nation within a nation. If people saw me on KSWO, I don't know how many times I said that. We're a nation within a nation. But today, BB, we are passing resolution number 92-2020, unless the CBC decides not to pass it. And what it is, we are requiring the wearing of masks during the COVID-19 pandemic and providing penalties for violation. I will give an example. We had a patron at one of our casinos that was mad about wearing a mask. And he was so belligerent to the point that he went and coughed in front of one of our employees and told him, "How do you like that COVID?" So things like that is malicious. It's almost terroristic. And we are a nation within a nation. We are on federal trust lands. So Our legal team, they've joined in on the conversation, and by all accounts, we can do such things. So we've got to not be like the rest of the nation that thinks this is a hoax or being led that this is a hoax. And I'd like for Dustin, before BB leaves, if you could cue up that very first PowerPoint. Now, we need to really look at this. And this is not for fear. This is not fear at all. And I want the Comanche Nation public that's watching abroad, as Dustin brings it to you. The Comanche Nation has been tracking COVID-19 in Oklahoma and our Comanche Nation. The first thing we did, the Comanche Nation proclaimed a state of emergency on March 18th, 2020. Number two, the Comanche Nation has had safe, soft openings for casino operations. We did do that. The Comanche Nation has had 3 safety health closures and reopenings. This has gone from our tax commission to our funeral home to up here at the complex. And number 4, possible closures might be on the horizon due to direction of pandemic. I'm going to show you these 3 numbers. On July 6th, I knew I needed to start keeping track Comanche County and Oklahoma. On March the 8th, the very first COVID cases were 8 cases in the entire state, only 8. Up to July 6th, that increased to 16,382 infected cases. So, number of days. There's 120 days that we've had this COVID-19. The average corona cases and deaths on July 6th is 136 cases a day. That's the average. And on deaths, it's 3 Oklahomans will die within that average a day. Now let's go to the 15th of July. If you guys really look at this, it's just 9 days later, a record was set. There was 1,075 cases. And this is day 129 of the virus in Oklahoma. So look at your daily cases. They have jumped up to 177 cases a day. Look at the deaths, 3 deaths a day. Then just, a quick 9 days later, on July 24th, another record-setting day. 1,147 people were infected in Oklahoma. That was day 138 of the virus. On the average, 211 Oklahomans will get this virus that day. And look at the deaths. They have jumped to 4 a day. And what I did, I took a perspective of March 8th, 2020 to March 8th, 2021. There's 227 days left till we reach March 8th, 2021. If we can go to the second one, or can I do it? Can I do it? Okay. Let's see here. Oh, good grief. He gave me instructions and I'm not following them. Okay, I think I got it now. There we go. Maybe not. That's what happens whenever I just see it. There it is. All right, with Sonia, BB Lyles here. And the thing is, we were assigned a health professional from Indian Health Services. Lenora, our vice chair, is our health liaison. Lenora, can you tell the Comanche people who our health professional is at Indian Health Service? I believe her name is Miller. Her last name is Miller, I believe.
I did work with Miss Babb. She was the chief executive nurse, and she gave us a liaison, and she will work with our tribe, and so that will be the contact person. I can't think of her name right now, I'm sorry. But yes, we do have a specific person that you can talk to, and she'll you and her will work together for the good of the tribe, the health
Okay.
issues.
And if it's Miss, you said Bab, is that Tiana? by
Tiana,
chance?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we usually work with her already within our department, so we can definitely get a hold of her.
Okay.
And also Shandell and Terrence, we had to call a teleconference because we're not health professionals. We are not. And, you know, we're reading CDC guidelines, and we were all instructed that there's two categories. There's a high impact and a low impact. I think we were going totally extreme, but at the same time, we're being totally safe. And we have voted very well, other than most tribes in Oklahoma. Shandell, can you release that person's name that is our?
Teresa Miller is her name.
Teresa Miller. Now we're going to her for the right answers rather than trying to make it up on the cuff. And BB has all the certifications and has gotten us to a good point, and I really do appreciate it. So I'll continue on. On the 26th of July, which was just 3 days ago, the massive record of 1,204 cases in Oklahoma, 140 days into the virus, which averages to 223 cases on the average for 140 days. Then, just 2 days ago, July 27th, 1,411 cases. So that's day 141 with 224 more days for 365 days of the year. So that average has moved up to 232. And then this morning I clicked on what happened yesterday. There's 33,775 cases in Oklahoma. The daily increase was 1,079 just yesterday. The brutal statistics of it all. Our Oklahoma population is 3,890,000 people. The way it stands with the number yesterday, 1 out of 115 Oklahomans stand a chance to be infected. Another brutal statistic is out of the 3,890,000 Oklahomans, we have had 509 deaths up until yesterday. So that is stating 1 out of 7,642, we will have a fatality. If you were to add this all up, people, that's a loaded DC-10 airliner coming from Washington, D.C., crashing with everybody aboard every day since this corona has taken place. And that's just the statistic for Oklahoma. Nationally, world, we're in a pandemic. This is a pandemic, and you know, it's just God himself needs us to get on our knees and seek his face and look for his guidance. And his word says what, Bob? That he will heal our land.
If we repent.
If we repent, we will heal our land. Our people are spiritual. Our people are praying people. Our people are forgiven people. And that's one thing I'm bringing forward. The good thing is 26,363 have recovered. But out of those, almost 1/3 have been reinfected. So it's a pandemic. So right now, this tracking COVID-19 in Oklahoma and the recent rise of infected cases, we got two major questions. We brought it up in our last teleconference. And we decided in this CBC meeting, before we go to legislative law and resolutions, that we have to bring these questions up. And I told Brett and Wyatt yesterday, we know what the timelines are in our Constitution. And the two major questions are this: when can we meet in legal quorum for nominations for our tribal council? Then it comes to a second question. Our fiscal year ends the last day of September, and if we do not have a passed 2021 budget, we will have to shut down operations. So the question comes out, send out the 2021 annual budget for general election. Now, BB, we've looked at the Coliseum. We've looked at putting our people out in the heat. Would you watch a taker cannot allow 6-foot distancing. All you could have is 121, which is not a quorum. We've looked at everything. We've talked about this at every teleconference. We've brought this up since April, since this pandemic has hit. Now it comes down to this. So, like we said on the teleconference, Robert Tipicani, I'm going to call upon you to call upon this CBC, starting with CBC number 2. Our thoughts and what we need to do today to have a semblance of nomination and election, because everybody has their own point of view. And there's one thing for sure, unlike what most people are saying out there that are on social media, they know not what they say. Everything we have done since I've been here is by the legal quorum. There's not been one singular action taken by one person. It's been by the quorum which the Constitution calls for. Mr. Red Elk and I got to remind this audience, we stuck by the quorum. When we had a CBC set here that didn't want a quorum. This happened under Chairman Coffey's administration. Same thing. Administrations that don't work within the quorum are a failure to the nation. So today, Mr. Tipicani, if I could have you go down the roll and we go to discussion openly with our people, because it's not nothing holding it back but death or sickness. And that's not a scare factor. You're seeing the numbers. None of these numbers have lied. Our second most populated Comanche population is Texas, and they have an epicenter of COVID-19. Our third largest state of Comanche population is California. They are an epicenter of COVID-19. This is a worldwide pandemic. So with that said, I would hope we come to the questions today. And if you could, sir.
Ms. Doyabye, Committeeman number 2, the questions 1 and 2.
Or your thoughts about.
Yeah, meeting and budget.
My foremost thought is our Comanche people. Throughout what we've been facing, I have seen sickness and I have seen death. Now I may get a little emotional, I apologize, but I love my people. And it hurt me sitting there trying to help these people with their sorrows, their sickness, knowing that even families are not able to get together like we normally do, comfort one another, do our singing, do our ceremonies because of this disease. And the things that we're dealing with is not just a matter of everyday politics and things, issues that we normally would have. These are life and death situations. These are things that the decisions that we make are going to affect our people that follow us, our children, and society as we know it right now may not ever be the same because we don't know where this disease is going to take us. And I am one of those that feels very, very strong with our Constitution and following things. But I think right now, a couple of our other business committeemen, I pointed out the things that he's talked about because the chairman and I discussed, many times how we could do things, what we can do, knowing what we need to get done in our government. But as much as we have tossed it around and toiled it around, there is at this moment no safe, and I stress safe, way, in my opinion, to bring our people together to do what we need to do. And we can't have a half meeting or just do one or two things because, it's the business at hand. You're going to have to do it all. And one of the committeemen made a very good point, Mr. Redout, and about, us facing a life and death situation, knowing, just, for instance, he made the comment for us when we were discussing schools. Schools as we know it are not going to be the same until they get a vaccine or something for this disease. And that's what I base my decision of not having it right now, because I would rather us as a people be safe than gather and let that disease run rampant through our people. Because it would just take one time, one person, just like you said, somebody that maybe didn't want to come, they want to come, but they don't want to wear their mask. And you have a right not to wear a mask, but in that same feeling, I don't think you have the right and to put other people's safety ahead of your own and say, well, just because I don't want to wear a mask, I'm going to go out there anyways. Or to go out knowing that it maybe the trip to wherever in the public is not necessary, not getting, your life-sustaining needs. I feel like stay at home, people. Don't go socialize. Call them on the phone. Tell them I love you on the phone. You're on the media for everything else, this Facebook. Use it. And just for a little while longer, let's stay at home and be safe and, wash them hands, put that mask on, and just really work on it as a people. And I think because a lot of us here, that's what we're thinking of. And so it might not be popular, but I'm saying we're sitting here to think for the best of our people. I would say no. And I didn't mean to take so long to say it, but that's what I would say. Not right now.
You took an oath of office, and the main oath we take is the common well-being of our people. And we have a purpose, which is the common well-being of our people. If we were to look at common well-being, it's really to assure that where they go is safe. Thank you, Don Gill. Thank you very much.
Call on committeeman number, well, he's not here, Mr. Silva is yet to come, but we'll go to Mr. Riddell, committeeman number 3.
Yes, sir. I am, for this coming council, against meeting. I do not want to jeopardize our lives of our people. I think that we need to devise a method of taking nominations, and we need to develop the budget and do absentee balloting. I know that it is against our Constitution. We need to modify or some type of method to go through this process that needs to take place. We need to have our budget. We need to have our nominations. We need to make those selections. And to me, the only way would be through absentee ballot. And this group here needs to come up with a plan in the very near future. So my stance on tribal council is no.
Thank you, Mr. Riddell.
Committeeman number 4, Mr. Narkamy.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with both our committeemen so far. I think really one of our main concerns now is the kids going back to school. I don't think we ought to get in no hurry to send them back to school. I think we ought to, in the whole state of Oklahoma, I think we ought to wait till the second semester, January. Because they're real close to finding a vaccine to cure this Corona-19. And I agree with, like I said, I agree with the committeeman's, what they said. We can't meet and be safe. I know one thing, I don't want to be blamed for anybody getting sick and passing away from this virus. And there's a way to send out absentee ballots for the budget, so we won't go against our Constitution. So I say, right now, no on each one of them two questions. You got to be safe.
Thank you, Clyde. Call
Vice
upon
Chair,
your-
I'll ask Vice Chair Parker.
Okay. And for the record, June, thank you for coming in. Our business committee man, June Sovo, for the record, has come in. June, if you could look at that up there, we've already had a roll call talk here, but we're going right now to our vice chair, then to Mr. Tippecanoe, and we'll come right to you on the last part of this, okay? Lady Vice Chair, if you would, please.
I would have to say no, we cannot have a gathering at this time because it's just too, we don't have the space in our own watch taker hall, and it's too hot outside. So I agree that we have to have another plan for nominations, and we need to get our budget done. It's just too unsafe. The most valuable treasure we have is our people, and we can't take a risk that we gather. Every gathering I've heard about, there's been breakouts. And sometimes, you know, yes, we do have our feelings and we have our love for our people and we want to see them, but we have to stay rational, and especially in our position, there are a high number of people that would gather if we did have a council. So it's just too unsafe right now. So we have to think outside the box and come up with a plan where we can still meet all of our responsibilities and at the same time keep everybody safe. So no, we cannot gather at this time.
Thank you, Lady Vice Chair. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, sir, sure would like to hear your remarks, sir.
Well, the second question was the budget, and that's easy to handle in my mind. We sent it out. We should do that fairly quickly because sometimes it takes a while for them to respond and send it back. So I want to see that done very quickly. It's easy to do. Send it. And that's in accord with the Constitution because we sent it out in referendum. At the meeting, the CBC presents a budget, and then the budget's sent out for everybody to vote on. So it's already okay on that one. So I just say, let's get with it and get with it fast. When the other matter of meeting, you know, the statistics that the chairman's given us, and we live in Comanche County, Oklahoma, here, but then we have our tribal members, as he cited, big numbers in Texas where the virus is very strong at the moment, as well as we keep increasing in Lawton. Look at it, we're over 500 today. Last week, it seemed like a week ago, we were 4.
Yeah.
Now we're over 500. Not even 500, over 500. So we keep increasing. If we're just to look at our own area where we should have a meeting, so that just voids any meeting. We just can't have a meeting. The only meeting we could have is outdoors. You know, and I like that. If the weather was like today, not rainy, but cool, we could put chairs and space them out. And I say places like the Polo Ground in Fort Sill, that's just an example. There's other places, but we can't do it. July is usually very hot, and August is even hotter. So given that we have a normal attendance by elders, you know, and they do group when they come, it's just not fitting to have the meeting. And that's my view.
Thank you, sir. Business Committee Member Number 1, Mr. June Sova.
Yes, I agree with that. You know, it seems like a lot of our tribal members are saying, yes, we gotta have a general council. We gotta have a general council. But it seems like we're the only ones, seems like we're seriously concerned about our people's safety.
Oh,
I mean, this thing ain't nothing to play with. I mean, you see in the newspaper, families are dying, local families are dying. Lives are being taken because of this thing. And if we don't look at it in a serious way, I mean, this is something that our tribe has never, ever come up against. And you know, we're dealing with it the best we can, and we have to look at for the safety of our people. We were elected to safeguard
right.
our monies, our properties, our business. And more important is our tribal members' lives, our elders. I mean, we have elders that are up in age. We want them around many, many more years. And along with that, with good health. And by being safe, that's the only way we're going to keep them around.
Yeah.
Look what happened to Trump in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go on. This thing's going to be over. It's going to be all right. We don't want nothing like that to happen to our people.
Yeah.
We don't want nothing like that to happen to our people. I understand the Kiowas has got a bunch of folks over there. I mean, it's everywhere. And we can't have our people exposed to that. I don't care how bad somebody else says, we got to have a general council. We got plenty of time for that. I mean, things are going, we ain't got nothing we're trying to hide. We're trying to conduct business and in a safe manner.
Yes, sir.
We love all our people. That's why we're trying to take care of and watch out for them. And there's no way we can have that. I say no.
Thank you, Jim. There's one thing about CBC number 1. His rational thought resonates through all of us. We've been set straight on many things, and I thank you, Jim. Brett, I'm going to come to you. I gave you guys a task. What kind of legal standpoint? And it really comes to our Constitution. It comes to our oath of office. But this is beyond all control. On the national level, nobody's taking anybody to task on this because it's beyond all control.
Yeah, it's clearly an unprecedented situation, and the Constitution clearly was not drafted with something like this in mind. No one could have predicted it. So it's difficult to square the proposal with the text of the Constitution, but it's also a matter of life and death. So there has to be some kind of flexibility in place, and I think that mailing out the budget, it's been the practice anyway, right? So that should be fine. And with regard to actual voting, I don't know, I guess this has to wait until it's safe.
Yeah, the discussion with Rob and Wyatt, it is specific to in-person nomination. And that's the biggest hit right there. That's the one. And I'm just hoping that we find a big decline. And we cannot be leading the world in cases for America, but it's time. Time is on our side on this for safety. If there's one thing that came in a true revelation, and I shared it with Dustin, I look at our oldest Comanche, Anna. She's alive today. She's in our facility today. And today, we're going to make sure Kaku can have virtual talks with people because they're getting lonely. And I've said it all along. Mr. Riddell, Miss Parker, Mr. Narcomi, Mr. Tippecani, Miss Doyaba, Mr. Soville. If Kaku's good, we're good. If Kaku is good, we're good. And God bless her family that loves her so much. And she's sound. She's intact. She's 102. My mother was born in 1920. She was born in 1918. This year my mother would be 100 years old. And that's a benchmark for us to keep, BB. I love everybody's heart, their Namapihi, Comanche heart. So, BB, what you've developed for us to open up safely in the staging, there was one question that came was, okay, I'm there, I've been checked, you guys are going on ahead and doing my application there, but what if I need to come to social services? How does that work out?
So as of right now, social services is still going ahead and allowing people to come up here, and they are still coming outdoors to their vehicles.
Okay.
And they will service them that way. From my understanding, they will pick up the application, take the application, and then they can bring it back once it's filled out.
Okay.
Some of the stuff can be filled out online as well, but you know how our people are, we like to do things in person. We want to see a person's face. So right now, that is how social services is still doing their applications.
Okay. Well, I sure did appreciate everything you shared with us. I'm glad we talked about this. The way it stands now, Robert, I will call for one motion right now. And that motion will be by a voice vote, individual. We got to keep the services going for our people. We know that. The change up on proposed budget really is how much money do we have? We're sitting good for all of our services. We are. With closure, we're sitting good.
Well, social services, we're moving to COVID, CARES Act to help us.
Sure. And
Because we're into our budget.
We published our budget. We published our actual audits in March. We published our budget in April. And honestly, there's just a new addition of retail has done so well. They've come on the budget, take care of all of our community centers and outreach centers. The budget is the budget, but the budget can't come forward unless the people pass it. So, Lady Vice Chair, could I call upon you to pose the question to send the 2021 budget out for absentee vote? Because that is the voice of the power of our tribe, yes or no. And they will have a yes or no on each line item, each one.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to send the 2021 budget out for approval for a vote from the people.
Okay? Could I have a second?
So moved.
Moved by CBC number 1, said by Vice Chair Lenora Parker. Secretary Treasurer, if you could do a voice vote on this, please.
Mr. Narcome,
Yes.
Ms. Sobo,
Yes.
Mr. Sobo,
Yes.
Mr. Red
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Tipicani, yes.
So let it be written, so let it be done. Pharaoh-like, give me a break. Okay. Everybody, to be a Comanche is to get through anything. If we've ever read the story about how a hostile cavalry used to give our folks smallpox blankets, we got through that. We can get through these things. We can. And Bibi, I thank you for your warrior spirit. I've seen you since a little girl to grow up to such a lady. And I really appreciate you and your heart and your love for the nation. So everybody, let's give Bibi a hand. Everybody. And keep us safe.
That is the one thing that we, have started trying to push everybody to let them know is the safety of our people is our highest law.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you. All righty. We're going to move right on into some resolutions.
Can I make them, I want to bring up something to put
Yes.
in the executive session,
Sure.
and that's the tax commission.
Okay. All right. So, sir, you want to move for a change of venue?
Yes. In
Okay.
addition to the exec session
Okay. Could
for
I
the
please?
tax commission.
Okay. Could I please get a second on that?
That's second.
Second to amend to include tax commission and executive. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All righty. We're going to move right on into resolution number 87-2020. This resolution is list number 1162. Whereas the list includes the names of applicants who have been verified as eligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 1C, membership of the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, which states, all descendants of allottees eligible for membership under the provision of Section 1A of the article, having an 8th or more degree of Comanche Indian blood, and now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list 1162 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office. And be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approved membership, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, social security number, and degree of Comanche blood. Clyde Narcomi,
Yes,
how
sir.
many new members do we have?
23.
23 new members. Business Committee, I bring forward resolution number 87-2020 for a motion to accept.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Mr. Narcomi. You need a second?
Second.
Seconded by CBC 2 and the Vice Chair. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay? It looks like all of our new members are from Oklahoma except for one that's coming to us from Wisconsin. We have Karina Beard, Nehe Carpenter, Taylor Casillas, George Codapony, Riley Coffey, Harmony Collins, Madeline Delaware, Priscilla Gonzalez, Michael Kalinich Jr., Jonah Neverez, Nukana Navaquoya, Lena Pedrosa, Zoe Quiqui, Amada Rosette. Wow. All right. What's going on there, Brett? Kimora Rosette. Carter Sapka, Christian Skipper, Lydia Cavino, Rocky Wagner, Lyric Waharaka, Kara Ware, and Jameson Whitebird. This is our new members, everybody. Let's give them a hand, please. Welcome to the Comanche Nation. May one of you become President of the United States. We're moving forward with resolution number 88-2020. This list here includes the names of applicants who have been verified as eligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 1C membership. Whereas the list of applicants are considered adults but have not been enrolled in any other tribe, and the documentary evidence is on file with the enrollment office. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list 1163 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office. Be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approved membership, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, Social Security number, and degree of Comanche blood. As you can see, there is one person here. We can't say the name due to the confidentiality, but this person here has never been enrolled in any other tribe, and she does have all of these original allotment documentations. You guys can, if you look on that second page there, you'll see who her non-num is. And I can say link to allottee number 3389, original allottee. Business Committee, I do need someone to pose a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made by CBC 4 Narcomi. I need a second.
I'll second that.
Seconded by CBC number 3, Mr. Retta. All those in favor for resolution number 88-2020, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Well, there we go. We got a Comanche member that was just walking around aimlessly. Now is a num. All right. Capital expenditures from the United States Department of Agriculture, Food and Nutrition Service funding. Shandell, do we have the director on this one? Okay. Boy, I tell you, USDA right now, they've got a lot of funding. Got a lot of funding. If we had a crop plan right now, boy, there's some good money for that. That's if we were rotating crop right now. No? Okay. Well, I'll explain it to everybody. This is resolution number 89-2020. Comes to us from Miss Prouty, who's in charge of our USDA, our nutrition, our commod house. Hey, thank you. Okay. So I'm going to read this resolution here. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution approved by the Secretary of the Interior on January 9th, 1967, to safeguard tribal rights, powers, and privileges to improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. And our tradition of sovereignty of the nation since time immemorial long predates the existence of this nation, establishes the inherent sovereign powers and rights of the Comanche self-government. Whereas the Comanche Nation Constitution does establish the CBC to conduct business. Whereas the Comanche Nation Food Distribution Program received additional funding of $166,416 on September 24, 2019 to purchase a forklift, walk-in freezer, and make other improvements to the facility. And now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the purchase of a walk-in freezer from Luckinbill, forklift and leveler from Crown Equipment, and other improvements. We need to look to the back of this, and we need to see if procurement policy was followed, was it?
That's why it had to be on a resolution because it was over a certain amount.
Right? So we still need to see procurement. So is that documentation done for
Yeah.
procurement? Okay. Bob, have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it.
If, before this man releases any weave, y'all better, make sure that documentation's in this,
Yeah, she
okay.
just entered our queue and then we disapproved it and told her this is the way she does it.
Very good, okay.
Yeah, we need to see the bids, that there were bids.
All right, Business Committee, could someone make a motion to approve resolution number 89-2020?
I
Make
so
a
moved.
resolution pending that they had the significant bids.
I think that's a day-to-day process, so Bob, make sure you get it.
Yeah, well, I want to be sure that it.
Let's
I'll make
do
a
that.
motion, we pass it pending that he gets
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
procurement documents.
Okay, you guys want to put it within the resolution? It could be on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th whereas pending procurement policy documentation. Good enough?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be in resolution, just in the motion.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get this resolution passed first, then we'll go to a motion. Could someone entertain that motion to approve resolution number 89-2020?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I need a second, please.
Second.
Seconded by June. CBC 2 for motion, CBC 1 on second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Now we go directly to a motion concerning resolution number 89-2020. And the wording, sir, is? Robert?
The construction of a tribally operated center with code funds at 710, 716? Is that the one?
Sir. No, I need you to expound on your motion to be attached with this resolution.
Oh, for the one we just passed?
Yes.
Approved pending the bids are in place.
Okay, procurement policy.
Yes.
Okay? That's the worded motion. Need a second.
Second.
Seconded by CBC number 4, Narcomi. All in favor for this part to be attached to resolution number 89-2020, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Did you get that, Ms. Shandell? Cecily, hopefully, I know you're watching the live stream. We'll get that. All right. Moving forward, everybody, resolution number 90-2020. Now, this is the construction of a tribally operated center with CCDF funds at 710 through 716 Southwest B Avenue, Lawton, Oklahoma. Are they here?
Did we get to see this?
And that acronym stands for Comanche Nation Child Care Program. Hello, Miss Devine.
Hello, sir.
How you been during this pandemic of the world?
Just making it
No,
happen.
just doing, that's what.
Just making it happen.
Okay, now we did pass for this to happen because you guys had the appropriated money for it. And we passed this back in May of 2019, May the 4th.
Yes.
So today we're moving forward on what part?
We're moving forward on construction, sir.
Okay, you ready to get it constructed?
Yes,
Okay.
we're ready to hire our A&E for the plans.
Okay,
We have $550,000 that have to be liquidated by September 30th.
oh my, okay.
And then we requested an additional $500,000 for the next fiscal. That was, you signed off for our letter for us asking for that total.
Did they give it?
We won't know that yet.
Okay, all right, okay. Business Committee, any last questions before we put a shovel in the ground?
Yes. What's taking so long to get these things rolling?
The pre-plan part of everything for the first year was pre-planned. There was a lot of steps to go into the grant that we had to go through. And so that's what took a lot of time. And then with COVID happening, that kind of hung up on a couple of things. And so now we're ready to go through. We had before Christmas, we had the pre-plans done, and then we were ready to move forward. And then after the new year, we got going, and then COVID happened, and it kind of put a halt on everything. So we've been kind of sitting idle for this amount of time, and now we're ready to go forward.
Anybody else?
So this resolution is asking for bids, right?
We already have the bids for A&E. That's
Oh,
already
you
been
have
put.
the bids?
Yeah, we already have the bids. Mr. McCarthy for CIP has been helping us with this. He's been my go-to for a lot of this. And so he helped us with this, and he did the scope of work with the floor plan already sent out. It was sent to 6 different companies. We got 3 bids back. And so we're ready to go forward with the winner of that bid.
So who is,
That is Patriot Management.
You know, honestly, that should be within the wording.
yeah,
of
it should have
this.
been in the resolution.
It really should, and the documentation of such. You know, we're meeting in just 2 more weeks, August 8th. Does that put you in a bind if we wait till then?
That you wanting to put the wording of the actual company in
Has
the
to be
resolution?
done.
Yeah, that they've been a successful bidder. You have to put that in there.
But we need the proof in the pudding. I mean, we cannot do procurement process like they used to of old, who you know and who you blow. We got a process here, so that wasn't a negative, that's the darn truth. I need to know if procurement policy was done on this and why it was awarded, and was it a closed bid system? I mean, we waited a long time on this in June. I appreciate your candor on that. You're right, it's taken a long time. Yes, COVID's there. But now we're at the last step of doing construction, people. We got to have the proof in the pudding on this.
Okay.
Are you the director?
I'm the director for the ECD site program. My director is Carolyn Codapony. She's the program director.
Where's she at?
Carolyn is, right now, due to the procedure, she is in quarantine.
Oh, good.
So she was unable to make
I mean,
today.
not good that she's got it, but good that she's.
Yeah, so she's in quarantine right now, so I was informed yesterday I would be here.
Good.
But Desiree, tell me something right now. Will it put you in a bind?
I don't believe it would put us in a bind, sir, since it's just 2 more weeks away.
Yeah.
That way we can put the wording in there just like you
Please.
want it.
And the full documentation, because once again, we have this process. I have no signatory authority on this tribe unless this group here says move.
Okay,
And we can't do things unless that man approves it. And then he's got 2 more checks and balances for that approval. So we're a fail-safe type of nation, unless they cut all of our right hands off.
okay.
So we need to table this.
And there's a correction on your description of how many employees you're gonna have on this new facilities. On one document, and one sheet, it says you'll have 17 providers to children, and on the one where you got the schedule of events as it's gonna be opened and this and that, you have 16.
The 17 is who we have currently employed with all programs. And then for the new construction, the numbers are different. For the new facility, there will be a different amount of people. The new facility is gonna be licensed for 80 children. And so just depending on how those numbers come in with kids, it's gonna kind of depend on who we hire for what age group.
You know, Desiree, come August 8th meeting, man, I sure like to see y'all's. Did y'all pick a design type and all that?
Yes, we have
Man, get your Comanche people excited, how it's gonna look, and show them.
I would love, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be,
That man right in there, Dustin Miller, he's a magic man to get information out.
yes, I'll get with him.
Okay.
On your design, on your floor plan, I see, and in your description, it says you got an outdoor playground area.
Yes,
Now, in the event of inclement weather, do you have space enough for them to take care of activities inside the building?
we'll have, the classrooms were made to be larger classrooms for larger space so that we could have activities inside if we needed to. We will have covered area on the playground So there's gonna be an outdoor classroom that's gonna probably have a little pavilion that'll go over it, that in case it is raining or something, we would still be able to be out there. We just wouldn't be in the rain.
Now, if this COVID-19 goes on and on, is it gonna affect, even after we got our facility up and running, is it gonna affect the people that we'll be able to bring them together? Or do we just have to wait?
I
and
think
see?
that's gonna be one of those things, we just have to wait and see how bad this gets, if it gets any, worse than what it is now. Currently, we're not open. We will be opening on August the 24th. And, that is just because so we can have everything in place before we open. We wanna make sure we have the right safety plan with the kids, contingency plans, so that we're able to take care of these kids in the most safe manner.
Now, when they license you, can they license you by looking at your diagrams of your?
Yes, they're gonna
automobile?
license me by looking at the diagrams, and that's how I figured out how many
Good.
kids would be in the building.
Good.
They'll also come in once we get further into the thing, they'll measure they count as usable space and non-usable space. Non-usable space would be like if the bathroom was right there, so many feet in front of the bathroom, so many feet in front of the sink. But usable space, each child needs 35 square feet. And so how I figured it for this size, we figured at 80 kids. Our old center at Numina that's on the property, the housing property, we were licensed for 46 kids. And we could have been licensed for more, we just never had the staffing to do it. So here, this place is gonna be 80, and it might even be higher than that once licensing says, y'all can have 100 kids, y'all can have 120 kids. So we're just really, I think we're all very excited to see this new place, because this is our second summer we've had to miss out taking school-age kids.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the space for them, and that's a big need, is school-age care in the summertime and during breaks. So we're just excited.
How many places are open for childcare?
Right now, there are some small centers that have closed, that have permanently closed in Lawton because they just couldn't make it through this.
Yeah.
A lot of family childcare centers have closed, but there's still, the big centers in Lawton are still open. So I would say there's probably anywhere from like 10 to 15 still operating, but with all the other places closing,
Yeah.
it's hard to get into anywhere, because even my son, he's a school ager, he's 7, he has special needs. I haven't been able to put him in childcare all summer.
Right.
Because there's no spots for him anywhere.
It's, we're gonna roll out phase 2 of the CARES Act program today. And, everything's just kinda up in the air. It is. City of Lawton's trying to prep to get it going. I'll be honest with you. June, what you said, they need a way. But will they? But we can't allow our children to get behind. Anyway.
Yeah.
Donegal, could you please just call for that table?
Yes. This motion,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table that until we get these documents in here.
Okay, motion has been made to table the August 8th meeting. I need a second.
So moved.
Okay, moved by CBC number 1, June Sovo. All those in favor to table to August 8th, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. And Desiree, main thing is, I would hope that you get a great PowerPoint together and how it's gonna look inside, all that good stuff, and have all that procurement ready for us, the wording right, and we'll move.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your work you've done. Thank you. All right, we got this resolution from gaming. I want you to explain this to us, Brett, if you could.
So, under the new compact that you all signed, it had a provision in there that requires that 45% of gaming revenue come from Class 3 games. And as you know, there was the Oklahoma State Supreme Court decision not too long ago that shed a lot of criticism on that compact, but in our view, it's fine for you all to keep operating under it, and it's a requirement under that compact to pass a resolution that says 45% will come from
Well,
across
heck
the
yeah, we got
game.
a compact. This signifies, fortifies our compact, so I'm moving on with it. Resolution number 91-2020. The Comanche Nation and the state of Oklahoma have entered a legal gaming compact that took effect on June 29th, 2020. And whereas, under the 2020 compact, the Comanche Nation is required to certify by Comanche Business Committee resolution that 45% of all gaming revenues earned at gaming facilities will be derived from covered games. Now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby approves and adopts this resolution, certifying that for the time period of July 1, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, the gaming operations in good faith must attempt to have 45% of all gaming revenues earned at the gaming facilities to be derived from covered games. Business Committee, we have resolution number 91-2020. I do need a motion to approve.
I have a question.
Sure,
When it says must attempt to have,
that's part of the compact.
I know it, but I mean, we just have to do that, don't we?
Sure.
Not a
well,
must attempt.
The wording's in there of close too, I think.
It's, the compact says 45%. It's not worded in, you know, an attempt. But
Yeah, it
the
could
thing
be
is,
40.
this is prospective. It's referring to the year going forward. So as you get to, say, May, April 2021, you'll have to, I guess, maybe take some Class 2 machines down.
That's
add
the
some
deal.
Class 3
That's the
machines.
deal, Bob. Sometimes when you do have, let's say we have one vendor and it's been down and it doesn't show it, so inclusive of the full 45, it's never matched that, ever, never. Because sometimes there's that variance, there is.
This was the way we worded it. If this will be sent to the State Office of Management and Enterprise Services, if they have a problem with it, I guess we can maybe rephrase it a little bit, but they said to us that they're pretty, they'll work with us, that, you know, they're going to be amenable to working together, so this should be fine.
Okay, that's it. It just makes it confusing. But the other point I have, a question I have, now does this mean our compact, see, it's just for 1 year? Our compact period is beyond 1 year.
Yeah, it's 2021.
Correct, but this resolution has to be given to them on an annual basis. So next year, there'll be another one of these.
We have done this all along, Bob.
Seems like though we should make it for the term and have the resolution standing.
Make the resolution with the term of the,
Yeah, of the
Compact, yeah.
compact.
That wouldn't be illogical, that's just not what's in the compact. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and that makes sense, but the compact asked for this resolution to be passed every year.
That is true.
Every year? That doesn't seem smart,
Well, I know one thing.
because this is our resolution.
Well, it comes to this, Bob. This came in play in case we do give a mega structure in outside of someone's jurisdiction where we have two-part determination. So it is until that time. We're paying 4.5 where everybody else is status quo of what it was before.
I understand that, I just
Okay.
had the question.
Is that what's
about it.
coming in play here, right?
You mean I'm not sure what.
Okay. We all know if we just had class 2 games in our facilities, we pay the state not a dime.
Correct.
Because we had this compact that a lot of people still don't understand, it's about the class 3 Las Vegas type games.
yep.
What we're saying here, the attempt is to the 45% of that matter.
Correct, and for these covered games, you would pay only 4.5% to the
Correct.
state.
Yeah,
as opposed to-
4.5.
Yeah,
Correct.
before you were paying, you know, a blended rate of little over 6%.
Correct.
So this will save you a lot of money. If we want to talk more about, you know, the legal strategy going forward about what happened with the Oklahoma State Supreme Court and these other challenges, I would recommend we talk about that in exec session.
Correct. So, can we hold off on this to August 8th, or it needs to go in now?
It would be fine to hold off until August 8th.
All
The
right.
compact,
Donagall, until the wording is right. Could you please, ma'am?
I'll make a motion, we table this.
We'll go ahead and table this
I second it.
according to the rule of Bob. Okay, and seconded by our Secretary Treasurer. All those in favor for the right wording to go perpetual time? I don't say 15 years, I say perpetual time. Anyway, resolution number 91-2020 to be tabled. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to that, same sign. Are we clear on that, CBC, everybody? Okay. All righty. Now this one right here,
I'll make another point since
Sure.
we're on gaming.
sure, sir.
You know, I don't believe the CBC knows the judge rendered a decision.
Sure he did.
I don't know if they all know that. But the judge rendered a decision on the 28th in the state, the Western Court, the judge that was in the Western Federal Court, and he stated, because it, in my words now, that there seems to be a little confusion as how it's stated, that there is a 15-year from January this past year, or this year, for 15 years, it renews, all the compacts for the Oklahoma tribes renew for 15 years.
correct.
It's a very simple decision, and he made that kind of point, you know, it's a little ambiguous, so to speak. So he yielded in favor of those who challenged the state. So the judge rendered that all compacts have that, as they were all stating, 15 years automatic renewal. So all others than ourselves and the Oto, Missouri have that action or decision for their interest. And of course, ours has been challenged by the state Supreme Court, which our chairman says they have no voice because we are a sovereign nation. You know, the difficulty I always bring out is, yes, we are, but the Congress, U.S. Congress, put that into effect, that we couldn't have gaming exclusively, as we do, unless the state of Oklahoma authorizes, or a state, I should say. So we have to be in conformance what gaming is within a state before we can have a compact. And that's a shame because it does take away some of our sovereignty. And we have to yield some consideration to a state.
What are you saying?
The state, by Congress, is the one that can say you can undertake gaming in a state. By Congress, if it's class 3. Now class 2, we can do that, just as you said, we can have gaming without any state interference. But if we're to go beyond that to class 3, then if the state, you know, it has to be the state giving the okay to that. That's why we go into compacts.
Sure. So the rest of the other tribes are wards of the state. We're the only sovereign nation, us and Oto, right?
I don't call them wards of the state.
I call them wards of the state because they follow the state and everything they wanted to do.
No, they're wards of the federal government.
Okay. Well,
But
that's
they
for
have
the
to be
record for the
conformance-
live stream.
Yeah, they have to be conformance with the
That's all I
state.
can say. All right, Bob, point taken. We'll move on to resolution number 92-2020. This resolution is enacting the ordinance of the Comanche Nation requiring, hold on, I gotta finish up with this statement. So all of this and 3 tribes filing lawsuit against this state, it's all just been winded up to what it was at the start and the get-go of this. What a waste of time. What a waste of time. But I know one thing, they're gonna have to go to percentages. They're gonna have to get, what, status quo? The status quo?
Status quo.
Under their, the court decision was that the compact they had before continues, so
Well,
they're.
Brett, I gotta tell you what, if other tribes attack our sovereignty, they're just wards of the state. We have a compact that's in the federal registry. Try getting that out, state. Get to Congress, get to the Senate, get to the POTUS, get to the SCOTUS. We have a compact on the Federal Registry, and there's no taking that back. And we will pay less than all these other tribes, and that's for the record. All right, moving on. Resolution number 92-2020. A resolution enacting the ordinance of the Comanche Nation requiring the wearing of masks during the COVID-19 pandemic and providing penalties for a violation. Whereas the Comanche Nation is a federally recognized Indian tribe with the Constitution that was ratified in 1967. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee is a duly elected official body designated to conduct business in for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation in legal quorum. Whereas the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has presented a threat to the health, safety, and welfare of Comanche tribal members. And whereas COVID-19 cases in Oklahoma have increased significantly in recent weeks, putting an increasing number of Comanche tribal members and the public in danger. Whereas the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends that people wear cloth face coverings in public settings, particularly when other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain, and when around people who do not live in the same household. And whereas the given current status of COVID-19 in the state of Oklahoma, requiring the use of face coverings is a targeted response that can combat the threat to public health. And whereas wearing a face covering is important not only to protect oneself, but also to avoid unknowingly harming fellow Comanche members and non-members with whom they may come into contact. And whereas requiring face coverings is deemed necessary for the protection of the public health and safety of the nation and its citizens to prevent the introduction and spread of COVID-19. Now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee determines that it is the best interest of the nation to require the wearing of face masks to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, and to enact legislation providing for penalties for violating this requirement. As you can see on the back here, mandatory face covering is Section 2. Civil liability. Persons refusing to wear a face covering in violation of Section 2.1 are subject to a civil penalty. And guys, these are all terms. This is primarily for our patrons that are non-Indian, but it has to be for all entities the Comanche Nation has. It's all there. Bottom line is this: if we are a nation within a nation, let's act like a nation within a nation. So I got before you resolution number 92-2020. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
I have
CBC
a
4.
I have a question, but go ahead.
I do need a second. Seconded by CBC number 2, Ms. Doyabye. All those in favor for this enacted legislation by resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? It passes. It really comes down to this. We actually have our own jailhouse in Tillman County. We cannot have an employee of our nation be subjected to such malicious behavior of either spitting on them, coughing on them, bleeding on them, and then we have the evidence by surveillance, by sound of these people doing such things. There's a penalty to pay for such terrorist acts. There is. I am glad you guys passed this. It has to happen. It has to happen. In a world that's really confused about their civil liberties, to try to get people sick is really, in my opinion, the utmost evil you can do to another human. So I'm glad we passed that. Business Committee, we do have some items that we do need to look at. Today, we have got before you guys if you'll hold this up, this is resolution number TMCAP, Phase 2. If you guys could pull that out real quick. And here it is, guys. Mr. Miller, I did pull that up, okay? There we go. If you guys can look at the screen. The Tribal Members CARES Act update. Now this is an update where we're at right now, guys. July 29th. We enacted our Phase 1 on June the 8th. And this is our 7-week report. I hope our Comanche people that do know where we're at on this. We have had 8,739 intakes. The amount served is 3,625 Comanche souls. The average of those served comes to $957.16. We appropriated $20.4 million for Phase 1 amount. As you can see the balance. Guys, Phase 1 is going to continue as long as the needs for people affected by COVID-19 continues. It's just not a one and done. But I got to tell our Comanche people looking at this abroad, and come back to this live stream and look at it again. Week 7 of this Tribal Members CARES Act program, Phase 1, our major holdups of 2,038 individual applications are incomplete applications. They're online. There are 689 of them. Number 2, applicant verification calls. You got to answer your phone, folks. We can't be calling 7, 10, 12 times. You got to answer your phone. Why? To verify that address, to verify it's you, to verify your CDIB. We got to have verification. There's 607 tribal members out there not answering their phone. Number 3, duplicate applications. 742 of those. We got solutions for this, and I'm going to come to Miss Shandell that's been the sergeant major on all of this. Have we gotten the 3 phone numbers for these 3 classifications? Good. Mr. Miller, we're going to get this out there on our website. There's going to be 3, it's a solution. There will be individual hotlines for these individual applications. 1, incomplete hotline. 2, verification hotline. 3, duplicate application hotline. Now, if you guys were to look at the numbers now, we had 3,625 served. We have some trouble with 2,038 tribal members. You put that together, you know, we're looking at already 6,000 people we could have already gotten serviced. They're pretty close to completion on this part, but this COVID-19 has not stopped. This is not a one and done, people. This is not a one and done. So, this is our 7-week report. Shandell, can you tell the folks out there we had some banner days for applications Monday and Tuesday? How many got completed?
Monday, we did 364.
Yep.
And on Tuesday, we did 385.
All right, we're moving up to around 7,000. So we're close to getting it done on this first 10 weeks. It's been a miracle it's rolled out like this, 10 weeks. We started out slow, June, and now we're plowing through. All right, guys. This CARES Act Phase 2. I have to show you what this whole rollout can be. It's an idea. I've had many ideas. A lot of CBC have had major ideas, but it doesn't become reality until we pass it. There's a start date of this, which would be August 3rd. If we pass it today, it will start Monday and go through October 3rd, 2020. Phase 2 will be call-out application. What does that mean? We got all tribal council members, everybody over 18, their applications are already here. The staff here will call you. For what? They will call you, the served applicants, for educational need assessments. Your children, age 5 through 19, you adults, that's pretty easy. We'll be calling you too. The emphasis of Phase 2, CBC, and Comanche Nation tribal members. Number 1, kindergarten through 12th grade. Number 2, college, technical. Number 3, we got to put this in because that nice coverage that the government had of eviction protection for 2 months is over. It's not so much here in our inventory of housing or within the jurisdiction. Out of jurisdiction, Comanches that are facing eviction, foreclosure, and it's COVID-19 related, we're going to need that full documentation saying, I'm getting kicked out, or I'm about to foreclose. Most foreclosures are already in motion. There's not enough money to even get them back. I think most of these housing directors know that. The set aside will be $9 million. The resolution number adopted today, if it's adopted, or if it goes to more discussion for August the 8th, is either or. I worked on this in one probability, Bob. It comes to who's going to go to school? Who's going to go to school? So that is the emphasis. Let's go down to it. It's going to be kind of hard to read. There's going to be 5 categories. Just like we rolled out Phase 1, this one has 5 categories. The first category, distance learning K through 12. The object of this will come to an actual, what they call a hotspot, where people don't have internet, don't have anything. You can have a hotspot that will get you internet. It comes to that, to a tablet, to a laptop, to a device of learning. Do we write our tribal members a check? Possibly not. What we got to do is bulk buy from the intake of how many people we have. If you, as you can see, 25% of 9 million comes to 2.250 mil. How many can you get with that? Quite a bit. You can get quite a bit. So as we did the last ones, you know, guys, we got more or less 4 categories. If it goes higher for Bob, like says, there's people that are about to take the bar exam, some that are doing their master's degree work, some that need that extra bigger money, that needs CBC approval.
And some that are instructors, or teachers
Correct.
in universities.
Correct. Those will need CBC approval. Bottom line, it's a doable. How much would $2,250,000 buy? That's a lot of buying power. And we could get deep discounts. Category number 2, distance learning for higher ed. Yes, we have higher ed. This is an addendum to the higher ed monies the tribal council has already approved. Right there, 25% also. $2,250,000. What is it? Okay, jurisdiction, absentees. It really comes right down to that hot spot again. The hot spot, you got to have them. No matter if you're in the dorm, you're living out in the country, you're living in your car going to school, which there's a lot of numbs doing that. They're just doing it because they want to get it done. Once again, same type of, if it goes to a certain dollar amount, CBC approval. Category 3. Guys, I had to put it within this group because that protection for people living in homes. We don't want Comanches out on the street. We don't want Comanche children out on the streets. If we were to handle 1,800 Comanches facing eviction and they needed $1,000 to stay in their home, that's $1.8 million well spent. So, there's about 3 different dollar amounts. Now, these have to have the notification needed. We can't send a check to that tribal member, we pay it. We pay either the rental, the mortgage, however it's gonna work. We got to do these things. We can't have our folks out in the street, just can't do it. This is hurting the working class of Comanches. The ones that live abroad, you guys, it's hurting the working class. It's not their fault that their trade had to send them home. It's not their fault that they might have been making a good salary and Trump's money of $600 was great. That's ran out too. Now they're thinking on coming to another phase. I don't know if it's what this phase is called, but they're thinking of attaching $200 to unemployment. A lot of people have lost some really great jobs, and these great jobs probably won't come back to our tribal members. Probably won't until this passes. It's a great shakeout of economics as life as we know it, as you said, Jane, as life as we know it has changed. Everybody will still need utility help. This is to the student that is living in housing, the student that needs some help, saying, man, I can't even eat. You know, this part right here has to help the students out. A lot of them live off campus. It's really scary right now. A lot of kids join together to rent a home, and there's about 7 kids in there. And you know how young people are. They want to congregate. I just think this is a disaster waiting to happen. But, you know, that's just my opinion. The science tells us, Mr. Red Oak, as you always allude to, it's going to happen. The congregation of people spreads this virus. That's 4 categories. Now I'm going to go to the 5th category, everybody, hopefully. You got that one on, Dustin, the 5th category? There we go. All right. This is the last one. I had a talk with our charter. Why did I have a talk with them? I don't think we should be spending so much money to bring on people to monitor e-school or virtual learning. If they got a board, and now they're really excited about it. I was really down about it the other day, guys. Y'all know that, right? I was really down. I was really down.
That's not the charter, you're talking about the academy?
Yes. How does this work? Number one, the kids that decide to go to school, we got to think outside of Comanche County. There's some states that are really safe, but our 2 most populated absentee Comanche states is Texas 1, California 2. Most of our Comanche people, I can't tell you what they're thinking. Can we give them this option, which is this? This category, we're in hope of teaming up with the Comanche Nation Charter School to monitor K through 12 Comanche students nationwide through virtual e-school initiatives. The cooperative agreement is being worked out. I've talked to the principal. We've all met him, Mr. Figueroa. I talked in part to a little bit of the board for a little bit of time for them to come up with a good monitoring plan. So our parents that are seeing these kids for the first time doing virtual e-school, getting it done. And I'll show you guys another point on this. It comes down to this. Cooperative agreement is being worked out with the final solution decision by us, the August CBC meeting, scheduled for August 8th, 2020. The main emphasis is this: monitoring Comanche students during this pandemic is crucial. We cannot afford our nation babies, our children up to 19 to go get behind. No way. We can't allow them to just drop out because they're scared of it. Parents are scared of it. Everybody's scared of it. There's a solution here. There's a solution. So I'm looking at, if we do virtual help, every state in the union has e-school provided by their education person of the state, the head of education. What's that lady's name, head of ours? You know, and I'm kind of going to have to lean on Julian Guerrero to help out in part of this too. Let them do it. Let them help the parent monitor these babies through this process. How can it work? Well, this is what we have, you guys. This is what we have. Back to school, 2020. Our ages. Amber helped me out with this. Our ages. Kids that are 5 years old in kindergarten or pre-K, there's 258 of them. Our children that are 6 years old, there's 253. 7, 271. 8, 255. As you can see, the list goes on. Our total for these children, K through 12, that will be affected by COVID-19 in this school year, and why we got the CARES Act money, this is an allowable cost. There's 4,478 children. I've got an objective, and I've heard us talk about the objectives. And we got a school principal, superintendent here, a teacher here, a teacher here. Clyde, you ever taught anything? We got retired military. You taught somebody, Clyde. Bottom line is this, guys. Most states have e-school functions, okay? Most states, this is an option, no cost. It's no cost. But how many Comanches have ever thought outside the teepee to say, I want to homeschool my children? Not too many. They're like, well, they're going to get behind, right? The other objective, monitoring students' progression. With mom and dad out there trying to put bread on the table, we've got to monitor that progression. We can do this. I know we can do this. We're going to have to test. We're going to have to retest. We're going to have, if we have this group that helps us out, that becomes our partner, you guys, help us with weekly communications with that baby, with that student, with that 18-year-old, 17, 16. Ensure Comanche student motivation. If this school helps us out, the academy, Comanche Nation Academy, it's already given them a virtual plus when they're not even have boots on the ground yet. This would be a feather in the war bonnet for them, if it could happen. Now, if we make it political, it's not going to happen. If we make it, well, I'm just going to help out folks from Cass. Well, you're not thinking of our folks in Milwaukee. You're not thinking of our Dallas-Fort Worth children. All right. Ensure Comanche student motivation is essential. Connected to our nation, it would give our children and the families living in Minnesota, living in California, Delaware, we got Comanche children everywhere. It would give them that importance that they're connected to this nation. The possibility of cultural significance, of course, Dr. Briner is calling us, hey, how do we get a part of this? Well, I'm looking at it like, why not? Why can't we do this right now? But that's not the main emphasis. The main emphasis is making sure they're on track. If they're in the second grade, they're motivated to get to the third grade, to the fourth grade, to the fifth grade, to the sixth grade. I'm going to ask CBC Narcomi, I'm talking a lot. You love your grandson.
Yes, sir, I sure do.
I love my grandson. You know, he turned 6. Would you go with this if somebody could monitor it and he's progressing through school?
Sure.
Me too. But my grandson's on the Northern Cheyenne roll, so I can't. Reward and recognition. Now, I'm telling you what, we're making K through 12 look more prevalent than it ever was. I'm ashamed that we just gave out Walmart cards for back to school. That's shameful. That's the best we've done. I would hope this breaks out because of this CARES Act, that we take this upon our shoulders, and I'd love to see our children. Chinese children are no different than Comanche children. but why are they learning 8th grade English, 8th grade math in the 1st grade? There's a thing we can do to revolutionize our nation. Bob will say, you sure are a socialist, Willie. I sure am when it comes to Comanche people. I sure am. You know, there's an old saying, a village, it takes an entire village to raise a child. I'm thinking, I'm hoping that we can be that reservoir out there a nation can raise a child, especially on education. Our demographics, our, economics of the day. This is a worthy effort, and it took the CARES Act and a pandemic to say, logistics of K through 12 per child to monitor them, $100 per child for you guys to get this done to stay on top of it. Add that up. Shandell, 4,338 babies at $100 a baby. As you can see, it will take that money for professionals to monitor and get it done. If we try to volley it off to higher ed or give it to Gwen, it's not going to work. These guys are established, have gotten their money for their charter school, the Comanche Academy, to build. We've appropriated money. They bought a property. It's not about the property. Right now, it's about our children living abroad. I think I've sized it up as best as I can. So any questions?
Well, I think the one thing that makes success is not just the charter or the academy or the mentors, tutors there or whatever, is the parent. You know, the parent has to be the one that takes on this support to the child and to be in presence with the child. And if they aren't, then the child, because all learning is, from that which they perceive and see.
Yes.
It's learned behavior. Our behavior, our learning, our actions, our education is from our elders. And I hope in most cases from our parent. Now, many of our children do not have a two-parent family. And many of them, as some have spoken to me, is they can't wait to see school start, or they can't wait to see childcare because they have to work and they can't be home with the child. So there is that circumstance that prevails. The child needs a place of learning and a place of support. So we just have to keep that consideration in mind. And I'm sure Mr. Figure or the academy, as they go into it, will acknowledge and recognize that. It's not simple.
Yeah, it's not.
Because if you had two parents and the parent were home, wow, our children would be succeeding beyond, as you mentioned, the Asian people, how successful they are, especially Japanese. Your requirement is education. I mean, you grow up with that understanding from your parent, from your grandparent, and to be successful, you must be that kind of person that pursues education or a skill. And sometimes it can be very harsh, because I know in Japan, if some of the students don't succeed, it's just like really a heartbreak and a suicidal consideration for them, because they feel like they're just really ostracized. So you can be too strong about it, but nonetheless, I think it's just the point of parent and support that they have to have in place, not just the academy. But again, I just want to make that point. I think we have to, at some point, emphasize parenting. We need to talk about parenting, the responsibility of the parent the adult to the child, because all behavior is learned. That's a fact. So what they become is what they have at home or don't. And you look at these that are sitting over here in our shelter. Look at the predicaments that some of them have because they have no love of a parent, no support of a parent. And when you lose that, I had occasion to visit with the one that was in the Watergate. He went into prison. He spent his time in prison. He saw what was going on there. He got out and he became a prison minister. But the point he made to me, and he makes, he's passed, but what he made was the men would not be in prison. 95 or greater wouldn't be in prison today, men, if they had had the love of their dad. So the point is, in education, it's the same thing. If the child doesn't have the support of the parent, and if there's a boy, it should be a dad. I have to say that. We gravitate to our dad, we learn from our dad, because we're a boy. And I think, I can't speak for women, but I think that's probably comparable. But the point I make is the parent must be part of it. For us to succeed, they need that constant support of a mom or a dad. In this case, yes, we can step in, we can give some mentoring and tutoring, but it can never replace the parent.
I'm with you on that.
I just make that point, and I feel very strong about it because I've seen the success of it. I've seen the tremendous failure of it. A lot of problems we have in society with young people. As the statistics show right now, nationally, 42% of children have a nuclear family. Only 40% of Americans, I think it's 47, 42, that have a father and a mother in the home. The balance of that have no mother or father or have a single parent. And just look at those statistics. You can see why our children are being really lost and forgotten and becoming really a questionable circumstance for tomorrow's leadership. And we must promote, I think, parenting.
Yeah.
So I just want to add that point. Along with this should be a parenting.
Bob, one thing for sure, you are correct. You are correct. For us to even get to this point as a nation is a miracle. We are going into the possibility, if this doesn't kill the world, to the 22nd century. And by gum, I foresee, I'm optimistic, this could be revolutionary. This could get kids that score the top marks on ACT, SAT, and get them ready for the world. I'm a dreamer. I'm an optimist. Lady Vice Chair, we pray all the time. I'm an optimist, but reality tells me what Bob's saying is going to come to play. Let's talk reality. Okay? Go ahead, Jude.
We talk about academy, help monitoring these. Does the academy have to be up and running before it can do that?
No. Because every e-school throughout each state is already accredited. What this would be is actual teachers. And I hope they go to the pool of college students that need some extra cash to help out. You know, it's got to be a whole nation all in to help out.
Or even maybe reach out to some of our native, retired teachers. Out
Sure.
there too.
There he is.
Yeah.
He's tired of playing golf.
Yeah. You woke me up.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to say something about students. They are very resilient and they are very responsive when they get support. As you all know, I was a supervisor of a dorm of 100 girls that were considered at risk. That means at risk to fail. I had 3 staff on duty every day. Sometimes I only had 2. But we were on the same page and we verbally supported them, encouraged them, validated their success. We had rewards programs, incentive programs. And so I'm very hopeful that with all these different kinds of helps that our students will be responsive to the help. And we do have a lot of highly intelligent students. It's just that sometimes they do not have the help. But I have seen young ladies step up when they had, and there was just a few of us. We were very verbal with them, encouraged them, we had programs. And so I think that this is going to be a lot of assistance and support to our students to continue what success they have in education. And we do have a lot of highly intelligent students out there. And I think this is going to be a good thing for our students to be successful in school, keep their grades up, and hopefully progress from there. So I think it's a great program.
One thing for sure, guys, you said the magic word, program. All these tribes are still thinking, this is a per cap payment. No.
Yeah.
This is enduring this pandemic. Use this money wisely. Meet the needs. Sure, we're meeting the needs, but this one right here is very emotional, personal when it comes to these babies. When it comes to them, it gets very personal. And we want to help you, Mom and Dad out there. We want to help you, Kaku, raising those grandbabies. We want to help you, Auntie, Uncle, everybody. Because it takes a nation to raise a child. Now I want to ask a mama that's here. And this mama's got her face mask on. How many babies you got, Miss Weesaw?
2,
What grades are your babies in?
2nd and 8th.
Are you kind of thinking on doing some virtual e-schooling this year?
My little one for sure. My older one, because she plays sports, it would kind of mess that up for her. So we haven't really decided on her just yet, but my little one could definitely use this program.
And I'm seeing the gear towards that. Like Lawton's leaving it open for 3 days in, 2 days out. But the 2 days out has to be part of the virtual e-school. Every state has this. Every state. One state charges for it. What state is that has the highest academic results? Rhode Island. There is a charge in that one. I mean, it is what it is.
I'm seeing a lot of, you're talking about athletic activity, I'm seeing a lot of the schools having to postpone their dates because one of their students come up positive.
Sure, it's,
Or one of their team members come up positive. And look what they've done to the national
Yeah,
athletics,
shut it down.
the professional.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to play before a stadium for a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, for a while because of this. And like we said before, it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to end just tomorrow or the next week. I mean,
well,
we talk
CBC,
about homeschooling.
yeah.
I see there's folks are going to start deciding that's the safest thing to do for their children. They may not want it right off the bat, but they're going to eventually probably say, hey, you know, our kids can't go to school, they're gonna get behind. We gotta do something, so they're gonna have to go to homeschooling, just like you said, that whatever it was.
Chairman,
Yes,
parents will need help.
yep.
They will need an awful lot of help.
That's where this monitoring comes in.
And I think, you know, that's a very good concept, and it's gonna be reality. These
Yeah.
schools are gearing up to go to school, but they don't really know whether they're gonna have school.
Yep.
They're starting athletics all around. They had to do a 2-week layoff at Elgin because their football coach came down.
Oh, golly.
So, you know, all of this stuff we're talking about is really, it's here. And I thank you for providing this for our tribal members. But the parents really will need a lot of help in the schooling of their kids.
Guess who I got help from, Mr. Riddle? A Comanche member
Comanche
in
member.
the 9th grade. The 9th grade. Those statistics that you guys seen on COVID, he's helping me out because he's monitoring all of Texas for this kid is remarkable. I'm ready to hire him today. But you know what? He loves this nation. He loves being Comanche. And he said the only way this is going to work, you got to monitor the whole thing. I'm pretty sure this boy's already got an acceptance letter to Duke University, Bob.
Good.
Outstanding. I told him, run for chairman as soon as you turn 18. Pretty smart kid. There is hope out there. There is some fantastic Comanche members. They're there. They are there. Right here in their own backyard. And all you college students out there, and Principal Figueroa, bring it. Come August 8th, we got to have the full plan in order. The way it stands right now, guys, I am going to resolution number TMCAP Phase 2. And I'm going right to it, what it says. Therefore, be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee calls for the immediate legal quorum approval of the Tribal Members CARES Act Program, Phase 2. The guidance of this program will adhere and follow the 2014 Tribal General Welfare Act, Exclusion Act 26, USC Statute 139E. The Comanche Nation will follow the guidelines as allowed by the CARES Act and look forward to any other changes to the CARES Act by the United States Congress, Senate, and the President. Be it finally resolved, the Tribal Administrator is hereby ordered to bring the Tribal Member CARES Act Phase 2 to fruition for the needed help and services to all Comanche Nation members affected by COVID-19 that meet the guidelines of both congressional acts cited. The Comanche Nation Business Committee, acting for and on behalf of the Comanche Nation, does hereby authorize this resolution for such intent. Business Committee need a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I second it.
Seconded by our Vice Chair. All those in favor for this Phase 2 enactment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Tribal members, we're going to go into executive on a few things and we'll come back. Do remember, we got to get these hotlines out there, Dustin, for our tribal members on our website to get you guys through this process. Once we have everybody processed, it continues on. It just doesn't stop. Phase 2, our call-in center here will be doing call-outs for which one you decide on this Phase 2. Call out is a lot better than calling in. We don't have to reinvent the program. We got your phone number now. So, CARES Act, it started out slow, but we have picked up steam. We're getting it done. Business Committee, could I call for someone to make a motion to go to executive session, please?
I so moved.
Okay, need a second?
Second it.
Seconded by the Vice Chair. All those in favor for executive session, and we'll come right back out and go live again, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. And thank you, CBC, and thank you, United States Treasury. We'll take care of your money. All right. June, you
And
make
this
that
one I'll get
motion?
to you tomorrow.
Okay, can I get a second to come out
There's a lot
of
of them.
executive?
I can't
I'll
believe
second
it.
it.
Okay, second at tie between Narcomi and Doyabai.
He's doing a lot of things.
Go ahead, Clyde.
He was on the phone, I should have talked to him.
Okay.
I didn't want to embarrass him. But
For everybody's information, the tax commission will be reopened on Monday. Sanitation, disinfectant, coming forward. A lot of people are saying, well, are you going to pay me for our tickets? I got to remind our members, we were closed for 2 months at the tax commission. We didn't have one ticket. I don't know what the concern is over a week. But if you do get a ticket for having your tag lapse, send that information to me because the state of Oklahoma will waive that fee, and that was proposed when a tax agency closes. Now we go on to the business to finish up this meeting today. We were talking about having an information officer, public affairs officer. And can somebody make that motion, please?
I so move.
And that public affairs officer will be Mr. Dustin Miller. And this will be for the government affairs. So motion made by CBC number 2 and seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor for this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Dustin, he does a great job for us. Appreciate the CBC and what y'all decided today. Also, we have got to go on ahead with our insurance for the rest of the year. We can't miss premium payments. Open enrollment starts August 1st. Can somebody entertain a motion that we carry on with our insurance for the
I so
next
move.
year? Thank you, sir. Okay, moved by CBC number 1, June Sovo. Anita, second.
I second it.
Seconded by Lady Vice Chair. All those in favor for renewal of our insurance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We went over many, many things today. We did get a plan of action from our interim higher ed, Kelly Berry, and we also got a plan of action from our K through 12 program. So all people that are concerned with K through 12, go on ahead and make your calls because the combination of the CARES Act and both programs will do our very, very best in what this world has to offer for education this year in the school year with the worldwide pandemic. It's going to be hard, but I'm pretty sure we can get it done. Business Committee, is there any other business to do today?
I got a request from Kelly Cable and his dad Daryl. They want to have a recording session for their singers only. Southern Boys, they want to use our powwow grounds to do the recording. The guys can provide all the equipment, and it's just for their singing. This is not a powwow. This is just a recording session for the boys on the 15th of August, starting at 6 p.m. And they request to use the power grounds.
And they do know the rules of everything about COVID-19 up here and what BB's laid out for us.
They said they would have their own mask and gloves and hand sanitizer.
Okay. Is that the motion you want to bring to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Need a second on that for August 15th?
Second it.
Okay, for August 15th, Southern Boys recording session on the powwow grounds with our COVID-19 rules enforced. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Can we get a free CD? Hey.
7.
Get a sample. 7 of them, right? All
Oh,
right.
yeah, put in there.
That's the rental. That's the rental.
For realty, gaming, gaming commission, retail, meeting will be for tomorrow. Everybody sign Miss Shannon's questionnaire so we can go inside her place of business. We can't go in there unless we answer if we've not been in contact 14 days with anybody with COVID. So we'll get that done. Barring anything else, interim Shandell, do you have anything to share with us?
What about Bonnie?
No, sir.
What was the issue with Bonnie?
She gone?
No, she's still on
Still
there.
there.
She can come forward, sure. We'll finish our meeting up once we hear her presentation. This will be prevention and recovery business.
Yes.
Okay. And on the virtual communication at our Living Assistance Center, I would hope that Shandell, you'll get with IT and the director over there and make that happen, man. Okay.
Come in.
How long you been sitting out there?
Since 10 a.m.
Oh my gosh. You had a day off. How y'all doing?
We're good, thank you.
Okay. We've read pretty much what the proposal's calling for. Now, as far as interim election coordinator, we had a direction of motion to go to the absentee for our proposed budget only. That's coming to you in the form of a motion. Now we're dealing with prevention and recovery. So you got the air. Tell us what you want.
Okay. One of them is a human resource issue, so I don't know if I can.
We know about it. We heard about it. So we know that part. We
Okay.
just need to know justification, cause and means, ways and means. Where all of that combined, ways and means, cause and means, appropriation of monies. So it comes down to, what are you wanting to do?
Well, we have, packets for you all. We were provided with a COVID funding from our IHS contract, and it's on the page 2 and 3 for $54,000.52 and $18,016.732 to finish out our contract year, which ends September 30th, through our IHS funding. This is provided specifically for COVID to be able to maintain operations, and the $18,000 is for supplies, things to keep the facility and the staff and tribal members safe. So I'm asking, the outpatient office is funded 100% from the IHS contract. And since we did receive these monies, I'm asking to be able to reopen our outpatient office so that we can provide services. One of our employees there, Anna Silverhorn, she is the only person right now we have that is certified to teach parenting classes that DHS accepts, and that's a big need for our tribal members that we've taken calls. The courthouse is opened up at the end of May, so we have a lot of tribal members that are in limbo right now from their court cases, both for prevention needs and DHS or custody needs. So this is really important because we're talking about families that have kids, their kids may be in DHS custody. The office is actually already set up very well for the crisis that we're in right now. When you go in, there's a foyer, so the door is locked before you can even enter the other side. You have to be buzzed in. So you walk into an entryway, there's already a glass screen in place. There's a space for a tray to go underneath. It was already set up that way. So we were blessed to have it like that. So we could do a tray and be able to do the temperature and check before even letting anyone into the rest of the building because of the setup. So we also were going to look at, even doing one-on-one through, even if it needed to be electronically through Zoom or other sessions, but the building is large enough to have 6 feet apart, to practice social distancing and have everybody 6 feet apart in any case, keeping the classes minimum, 5 to 6 people maybe. That's what we were thinking. So I'm asking to reopen our outpatient office and provide as many services as possible to our tribal members that are in need of these services.
So the 54 and 18 supplies, but 54 will have the salaries
The salaries are 34. And
out of the 54.
yes, 34,576 for
And is it
the,
for the 3, Tracy, Anna, and Christine?
correct. There's still some in there as well.
Now, the one that, in number 5, you want to hire a new person, how are you going to cover that one?
Well, that's our CTAS grant. We were awarded that grant last year. The agency released, the Bureau of Justice released the funding in February. We were actually already through the process in March. During the shutdown, applications have already been, the job already opened and closed. Applications were received and screened. We're ready to proceed with the interview process. That is also 100% funded by our CTAS grant that we received.
But how enduring is that? Will you get subsequent grants? Because if you hire them, you'll have to hire them after they'll be around after the grant expires.
No, this is a different grant. We just got this grant awarded at the
No, I
beginning.
understand that, but I mean, the employee, if you hire them,
It's a 3-year grant, and we're in year
What
1.
Bob's trying to tell you is this, he's on top of our money. How much gaming money do you have left? How much gaming money did Prevention and Recovery get that the tribal council approved for 2020? What was the dollar amount for gaming?
Was 490,
Okay, how much money's left?
127.
Okay? And it comes down to gaming has not made money in 3 months. It comes down, what do you do after this fiscal year?
So these are all grant, I'm not asking for gaming.
yeah, they're all grant.
But, hold on, there's disallowable costs with the CARES Act, okay? Disallowable. I'm looking at these and they look like disallowable. Items needed, you need 4 twin mattresses, 5 twin bed frames, and that's a stretch to say for social distancing. Approval for social media sites. I never, ever disapprove one thing Prevention and Recovery does. I don't. But when you don't have the money, we stop right there. Okay, we stop. And then when we look at this type of money, which comes specifically with allowable and disallowable U.S. Treasury funds, you got to be very careful here. So utilizing it to expand an outpatient system. Now, where is the outpatient system at? Downtown?
Yes.
Okay. That's a stretch. I'm sorry. When I look at the money part, I don't think it's going to make it.
Okay, so I think there may be, we can take number 7 off.
Well,
That
it's
has
not a
no-
matter of that. It's not a
Okay.
matter of that. It's a matter of how do we come in knowing that your gaming money will be 50% hit going into the fiscal year, what the people will provide on an approved proposed budget. That's why we call it a proposed budget. Like this year, it missed the mark of what the people voted on for 2020. 2021, is probably going to miss the mark with this pandemic, with that. It's a new world now. So what we thought we could do is something that has to be modified. And looking at it the way it is right now, Shandell, I thought I seen when I did the takeoff of programs that they're almost in the red.
I thought the same. I
Yes,
don't know where she got
yes.
the 127.
Well, that was from the 490 that was allotted, not what, so
Okay,
the,
I don't think
so
she's
are
talking-
you in the red
for prevention and recovery, yes, but
on gaming
not,
money?
yes, not
Okay.
for the reintegration or the other program. So the outpatient office is separately funded through our
Right.
IHS contract, which renews automatically on September 30th as well.
I get it. You know, yeah, you're limping in, right? You know, to the new fiscal year. I get it. At this point in time, while there is a line item that is in the red, I'd have to say this won't work. Not at this point in time. I know it's a blow because I always approve everything you've done, Bonnie. It's been perfect, right? It's just a different year. It costs a lot of money. Have you closed during this pandemic? Has your place closed at all?
We still have 13 residents.
There you go. And see, it comes down to this. There's only been a few programs that's been open during this time. What replaces and fuels what you do? A lot of people don't want to say it. It's gaming money. Has gaming been open for 3 months? No. Have they have a safe, soft opening? Yes. Are they opening at 100%? No. We're at 50%. So it's a different world in the climate we live in, and it's all financial. That's just my point of view. This decision is by all 7, so you guys are seeing it. I'm just trying to shoot the reality. I love your mindset. You're thinking outside everything to help people to get them, straightened out. And that's a great task to have. And I do know that, you want to connect families back together. We know this is a plight on our people when it comes to any type of addiction.
So we have SAMHSA grants also that our monies, even though all the funding agencies, of course, work different and have different regulations, but our SAMHSA monies need to be able to be funded on the programs that we have are spent by September 30th. So I was just letting that be known. But my fear is if we aren't using our grant funding that we worked really hard to attain, then they're going to say that we don't need it because we're not using it for the purpose that we said we were going to use it for.
This is a good leverage technique. I like it. Now looking at this date, July 28th, yesterday, and you're wanting the administration, you're requesting approval for purchase of supplies from PSA in the amount of $20,494.92, paid out of your grant, which is a TOR, opioid response. Now on this part right here, I'm sorry, what is that?
The tour or the
20,000.
Yeah.
the whole thing? Okay, so on the back of that is what we submitted, that's our SAMHSA, that's our Tribal Opioid Response Grant.
Yeah.
And so we submitted a modification to them in April because of the COVID, that we were going to have to modify some of these services that we were originally said we were going to provide. So we did that modification and it was accepted that same month, a couple of weeks later. So those are the things that we said we were going to do. We said we were going to be able to provide some of our clients with care packages for their mental health and substance abuse needs. SAMHSA has approved all of that, and that's attached to that memo. That was actually submitted back in April, but once we received the notice, but with everything that happened, it has not been approved. So that was one of the issues, is that's coming up on September 30th, and we said that we would do these specific things, and they were granted. So that's with all of our, that's with all of our grants. So, we have
You know they're giving grant forgiveness due to the pandemic. You know that, right?
Right, I mean, we
Okay.
have to do a modification, but what I'm saying is we did that modification due to that and said we were gonna do these things.
I understand.
So we've done that already.
Yeah, I think the 20,000 we have to approve, but going back to the other, on the front page, you know, these are grant monies, the 54. And my question is like on number 5, not on 4, but on 5, again, you want to hire a new position, and yes, you have the grant money now, and you have 3 employees above, and you're adding a 4th, and then at the top, number 1, you want to replace 1 or transfer 1, and so that's 5 or 6 employees. And I just get concerned that, you know, can you continue paying all these, and will grants be assured? You know, that's always a bargain to say, yeah, it's gonna come. But
So-
to hire a new one, I just have that question.
Okay, so I think that maybe I did not do a good enough job on separating. So number 1 is our residential treatment center here at the complex.
I understand that.
And so number 4 and 5, we're talking about our outpatient office, so I apologize if that wasn't
You
clarified.
know what? That would have helped for sure. 'Cause we're looking at one big bulk thing.
Right.
And I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to provide, it's needed, we get it. You got some money's worth, we get that part too. But, I'm with him, the sustainability of it all.
So our IHS contract we have had for several years, over 15 years. It renews every October 30th. We've already done the paperwork it's already been renewed again for September 30th. So that's, the outpatient office is fully sustainable on the IHS contract.
Okay?
There's not, they're the two, I know that it's all lumped under one umbrella, but they're really two separate things, so they're two separate programs. I actually reached out to our grant manager for our IHS contract and explored bringing someone back and housing them at the residential. We cannot do that because the contract is specific to the community there. So it pays all of the building expenses, it's been paying them while we've been closed, it pays all of the salaries, and it pays for all of the supplies, the curriculum that's purchased for the classes. The number 5 for our CTAS is a 3-year grant that has been awarded. So we're in year 1, and that is actually for a youth coordinator to work with children in schools to prevent them from children that are at risk for either delinquency or failing. So I feel like, especially right now with the pandemic, because there's a lot of opportunity there, that person would be needed. It provides tutoring, and all that is funded through the grant. We put that in there, and we've already been awarded that money. So I do feel like it's important, and I do feel like that right now with the COVID, I know from our need, from our calls, because we get calls daily for outpatient and for inpatient, that during this time, the mental health of our people and our children and our families is very important. And if we're able to provide those services through our funding, then I believe we need to do that.
Okay, well, I'm reading here on your personnel, I see your budget you have here. It's only 6 months during the first year. This position is being added in response to COVID-19 as clients receiving treatment will need extra support. So how does that work with your outreach and what you do over here? Are you utilizing both funds to work both places? Is that how you're going to do it? That's how you've been doing it, or how you
No.
going to do it?
For which one, I'm not sure.
Well, your back page, page 9, or back page, page 9. Who made this budget here?
With,
Was this your awarded budget?
yes,
Okay. And it was submitted April 1, 2020.
Yes, a modification.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Now, is this the modification or the justification? Is this
No,
the
this is a modification to address specific needs for this specific grant for COVID.
Okay.
Yes.
But on page 9, you see what I'm seeing here, the relevancy of it all? Or am I just not following this?
Well, this is a specific, so this is just SAMHSA's specific format that we have to use to say where we changed line items.
Okay,
That's not actually, that's only year 1. That's not year 2 and 3, which year 2 begins again on September 30th.
okay. Well, bottom line, you've heard our objections, but everything goes to a vote. Bob is right on one thing. We should go by motion to get this, your July 28th request to let Shandell go ahead and sign it. Get that done. On the other part, on the outpatient, I don't know. Questions? CBC? Anybody?
Well, I think on number 1 there, again, replacement, I think that's something different.
Yeah.
You know, replace employee, those kind of things have to be done in a HR kind of action. And you just don't replace it and say, it has to be done that a person applies for something. There has to be a vacancy to which they can apply.
I think his last day of work, you got it outlined there, right? Is he quitting or
Yes.
something? Is he quitting?
Yes, he resigned.
Okay, so you're,
So he's gone?
no, he's
His
quitting
last day is Saturday.
August 2.
We don't mind that one. We can do that one. It's
But I'm
all-
talking about the other, Tito Lindsay, you
Hey, you're
know.
not supposed to say names, sir.
Well, anyway, the other person here requesting in-house transfer, well, there has to be a vacancy to which a person can apply.
Yeah.
We were requesting to post in-house. That was what we were requesting. Because that is in our HR policy.
So I got a question. It's off the wall here, but it's very relevant to what we're talking about. How long has the 13 residents been there?
We have some that are, we have about 5 that are transitioning out. They're coming up on their year. It's a 6 to 12 month program. They're coming up on their year. So, and then we have some that have been there for as little as 3 months. So we're working on transitioning about 5 of them within the next probably 30 days, yeah.
So is kind of like a guarantee for a year to stay there?
It depends on the need and the court's order also.
Okay. Are we having returning?
No,
Good.
no. In fact, 10 of our guys right now, so it works well because our reentry program that we also got through CTAS PA3, which those people are employed there at the center, those employees, we can transition them out utilizing those funds on that program. So right now, 10 of our guys are working,
That's great.
and they're doing really well. We have about 5 that are coming up on celebrating a year of sobriety.
That's great too.
Then how do you pay, you want to hire a new one, or 2, one part-time and one full. You'll pay it out of what?
If we can't do that, I'm okay with removing that. We can remove that request.
Yeah, because that would be CNG monies, wouldn't it?
Yes, we'll remove, I remove number 2.
Okay.
We'll make it work.
Anything else?
I would just like to say that the position for parenting classes, I think that's really positive because that's where it all starts in the home, you know, to build the student or the youth self-esteem. And self-esteem is the greatest deterrent to addictions. So I think that's a direct service that will be a positive impact on our families and our children.
Thank you. I would like to say this. So I have been before you guys in the past when I was with reintegration by myself, and I asked you to give me a chance to prove myself, and we acquired a little over $2 million in grants. So I am here asking that the needs that I'm asking for, taking out number 2 and taking out number 7, that we will not utilize C&G funds of what we're asking to do here.
All right, Miss Betty. That's wonderful. You know, that's how the tribe used to operate before. That's really wonderful. So, Chandel, what do you need from us today to make this, we've heard it all. What do you need from us for you to do your job to say, let's get this going on?
Just your approval to open that outpatient center back up.
Guys, you heard her.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So,
I
So-
make a motion to approve the outpatient center, reopen it.
And I second it.
well, I'll be.
Well, they've
Mr.
answered,
Riddick, I'm laughing underneath this mask right now.
but those grants cover that, I can see that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Business Committee, you have it right here for the prevention and recovery to reopen. And also, and that's reopen of the outpatient. And also, on this part too, you need this done, right? On, from your tribal opioid response?
Yes, and that's
Okay.
just because it's over the 3,500,
Yeah,
so.
I
it re-
asked
We
about
have
that
it.
and signed that.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay.
Good, all right. We got, who made that motion? I'm sorry.
did.
Okay, and who made the second?
I made the second.
Robert. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Was it worth waiting for?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, too. Could I have somebody entertain a motion finding no other business to be done for us to adjourn this July meeting?
Also moved.
I second it.
Moved by CBC number 1, seconded by our vice chair. All those in favor to go home, please signify to saying aye.
It's
All
about
those
time.
opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Did you say bye?